Here we are in June, man. We're counting down to the opening of bow season. Some states start much earlier. In Missouri, it's September 15th. But now's the time to get ready. You need to be shooting your bow, all that kind of stuff. But don't just stand in the yard and be whipping arrows. Got a lot of work to do out here. The first thing is a lot of us hunt out of tree stands, and we go through and check every strap, make sure our safe lines are good, everything's good. Check the straps on the tree stand. When we're checking straps, we're tethered into the tree because a squirrel or something may happen. A lot of people don't realize that trees actually expand and shrink as they're growing, and all that sap's coming up to get a little bigger, which can really stretch the straps. They shrink down in the winter. Sometimes squirrels will eat on these straps, I think, to get salt or nutrients out of there. So the biggest trophy you can take home after every hunt is bringing yourself home safely to your family. Second thing I'm scouting on right now, we had a big windstorm this weekend. Maybe there was a windstorm where you live, and it knocked a bunch of oak limbs down. These are all post oak. They've only wilted one day. And when I look in here close, my goodness, it is scary. On this limb alone, there are dozens of young acorns. Dozens. Think about the canopy of a big old tree. When there's a huge acorn crop, if you live in timber country like I do, you know, you pull up a satellite image and there's way more of the ground covered by timber than openings. When there's acorns everywhere, deer simply don't have to move far. They literally can eat bed, eat bed, eat bed. So if you've got a huge acorn crop coming on, even though you may have great food plots like we do, our plots are off to a great start, you want to try to harvest deer during the early season. Because once acorns get on the ground, and those patterns could be 10 or 20 yards, or just not moving far. And certainly some deer move further, and they're gonna be in the timber, they're not coming to fields. They may not be going through the normal bottlenecks because there's food everywhere. Food, cover, and water can be very close together. And deer are lazy in the early season. They're just not roaming all over. So if you've got this coming on your place, I strongly suggest you get really serious in the early season, not only trying to tag that buck, but get your doe harvest. Doe harvest is a critical part of having a healthy deer herd. You get more acorns on an area, you can see all this sun, you see the scattered sunshade behind me. We've done TSI, timber stand improvement, some people call it forest stand improvement, where we've taken out the low quality trees and left the better oaks in this situation. Where we are in the Ozarks, our better trees would be oaks. And when you give more room around that canopy and those limbs can expand, well, you get more acorn production. My friend Dr. Craig Harper did some research many years ago using fertilizer and all these different treatments. And the number one treatment to make trees have more acorns was, in fact, killing the competition, giving that tree sunshine all around. We talk about sunshine a lot, but I still don't think a lot of people realize that all this starts with photosynthesis. Antler size and cover for turkeys, cover for fawns, that's all a product of photosynthesis. And when all that photosynthesis, that sun's energy, is happening 50 feet above the ground, there's nothing here, right? Bare dirt. But if I step over here just a little bit, there weren't many desirable trees. We killed them off a bigger area. It's lush and there's a lot of deer food. That's why we do timber stand improvement. More acorns may seem bad, right? It makes tougher hunting, but when you're in a timber-driven area, acorns are a good source of energy. They average 7-8% protein. That's less than the minimum it takes to keep a deer alive. So a diet of only acorns won't keep a deer alive, but it certainly is energy and fat for deer. And deer have been eating acorns forever. You could have the best food plot in the county, and when a lot of quality acorns on the ground, typically deer are going to avoid that food plot, go to the acorns. I was raised here in the Ozark Mountains. I'm an acorn hunter, from day one. And one trick I have found to make it better is hidey-ho food plots. Put a little green deep in the acorns, and they will come by and just get a bite or two of the green. They may not make it out in a big old 5 or 10 acre food plot field or a 2 acre food plot field, but you got a 1/4 acre hidey-ho food plot, small food plot that you can approach, hunt next without alerting deer. Don't put that baby a half mile back in the timber where you're walking through where deer might be bedded or your scent's going to where they're bedded. Remember, it's not just where you walk, it's where your scent's going. You got to alert deer getting there. But If you got a hidey-ho food plot right on the edge of some really good oaks and you can approach, hunt, and exit without alerting deer, that can be magic to tagging deer when there's a heavy acorn crop on the ground.
Growing Deer is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Also by Green Cover Food Plots, Winchester, PH Outdoors, Moultrie, Steel, Fleet Outdoor Apparel, Morel Targets, Fourth Arrow, Soil Pro Outdoors, Scorpion Venom Archery, Case IH Tractors, Burris Optics, and Redneck Hunting Blinds.
Acorns aren't a constant food source. They're a kind of a boom or bust food source. Now, they usually go from 20 or 30% crop to 60 or 70, and every now and then you have 100% crop. That's a massive crop. Some areas had that last year. I got some friends in Tennessee. They were roller skating on acorns on the way to their stand throughout the entire season and even in the turkey season this spring. Other years, there's not much. You don't want your life to be like that. You don't want to be going up and down. Oh, I'm great, I'm in the valley. I'm great, I'm in the valley. That's a horrible life. And to mellow that life out, well, we need to find the Creator and seek His will. Not only know about His will, a lot of people know there's a God. You hear it all the time in their talk, right? Or every time we reference a date, that's before Christ or after Christ. What we want to do is apply the principles Christ shared in His Word, the Bible, to our lives daily. And that's a really good way to smooth that trend out versus up and down. Thanks for watching Growing Deer.